Following a 2-month investigation, the Calgary Police Service Vice Unit has charged a woman in relation to a human trafficking investigation. On Saturday, January 11th, 2014, Calgary Police Service received a request from the RCMP on behalf of a family member to check on the welfare of an 18-year-old woman believed to be in the Calgary area. Shortly after, CPS officers located the young woman at a bus station, at which time she alleged that she'd been held against her will and forced to act as a sex trade worker since the fall of 2013. It is believed the woman arrived in Calgary in October of 2013 for a job and was seeking a female roommate. The victim met a woman who offered her inexpensive rent, and she accepted that offer. After a short time living together at a residence in the 2300 block of 15th Street Southwest, it's alleged that the homeowner began slipping drugs into alcoholic beverages being shared, and the homeowner allegedly took inappropriate photos of the victim without her knowledge. These were later used to extort the victim into participating as a sex trade worker. During the subsequent investigation, another victim came forward alleging she had also been the victim of voyeurism and extortion, and investigators were able to connect these two victims to the same offender. Amanda Kathleen Mcgee, 31 years of age, of Calgary, is facing charges including trafficking in persons, administering a noxious substance, living on the avails of prostitution, keeping a common bawdy house, sexual assault with a weapon, forcible confinement, procure a person to become a prostitute, extortion, and voyeurism. Mcgee will next appear in court on April 15th, 2014.
What can you say about that second victim that came forward? What were those circumstances, and how did they know each other?
This was a scenario where the primary victim had been engaged as a sex trade worker, and a date occurred. As a result of that date, there was some video that was taken, and that's how we became aware of the second victim. So that's where the voyeurism and extortion. That was Mcgee. The allegation is that Mcgee was covertly filming the two victims engaged in a sex act.
So is
they were going on a date with a John?
No. This the second victim was a client, if you will, of the first victim, and the activity between them as client and sex trade worker was recorded and used to extort the client. So that's where the voyeurism and extortion charge arises from.
So the second victim is a John?
Yes.
Are there any charges pending against him?
Well, it would be a Jane, if you will. I don't know. Yes.
Were all of the clients female?
I don't know that, I'm sorry.
How are these dates being procured?
There's a number of avenues that can be used. In some cases, it was a social media application offering sexual services.
That's how so basically the accused was advertising, for lack of a better word?
Yes.
This person?
Yes.
Setting it up through social media?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say if there's charges pending against the client?
No, there's not, to my knowledge.
And how did the victim meet the accused?
Okay, I have to keep this straight in my mind.
Like she was looking for a roommate?
Yes, that's correct.
So how did they come to?
Again, I think that was an online application. That's how they connected, was the individual that came to Calgary. So our primary victim came to Calgary in the fall of 2013, seeking a female roommate. So that was set up through social media. I can't speak to the specific outlet, but that's how they came together.
Where
Was
is she from?
the Lower Mainland of the West Coast.
You said she came here for a job. Did she work that job afterwards?
I don't have that information, I'm sorry.
Was she also 18 when she moved here?
I believe she was of age when she arrived in Calgary.
And the accused, is she known to you?
I can't speak to criminal history or her history with the Calgary Police Service. She came to light as a result of this investigation.
Has she been cooperative?
I don't know to that extent.
Was she also working as a prostitute?
Again, I don't have that knowledge. She's being charged with procuring. I don't know if she was engaging in sex trade activities.
Why aren't there charges pending against the client?
Well, the charges that's a gray area right now in light of the recent Supreme Court decision. So prior to the recent decision, communication for the purpose of prostitution was the offense. So activities between consenting as adults is not a criminal activity. So the two individuals engaged in behavior behind closed doors, there would be no charge to lay in an instance like that.
Just to clear the timeline up, the accused allegedly started forcing her into sex trade in November of last year. Give or take.
October, so
She said she moved here in October.
That's
so
correct.
The alleged.
So shortly thereafter, within 2 days, the accused was engaging in behaviors that could be described as grooming and compromising, and putting that individual in a compromising position, carrying out the extortion and the behaviors that would cause her to act as a sex trade worker.
How is the victim doing?
To my knowledge, she's been supported by the members of the Vice Unit, and this has the support of family and friends, and to my knowledge, she's progressing quite well at this point.
Is she still in Calgary?
I don't have that knowledge right now.
How did police find her at the bus stop?
Well, generally, I don't know the specifics, but we would receive requests from another agency. Typically, if it's a concerned family member, we'd be given a solid physical description, unusual characteristics that might help identify. In this case, I would suspect that the family may have had information that she was attempting to travel back to her hometown or home residence. So we would fan out and make inquiries where someone would be likely found in a scenario like that. So the bus depot would be a place that we would routinely check.
Was she trying to escape at the time that she was found?
My understanding is that she was trying to get out or get away from this situation and return to family and friends.
So these dates, where would they take place?
Well, in some cases, they would take place in the offense residence, and I don't know whether there was out-call activities going where someone would attend another residence.
The filming of the second victim and her death, that was in the house there?
That's my understanding, yes.
Now, based on the charges you see here and the timeline, I mean, it says here she's held against her will. That was purely blackmail type against her will, or was it physical restraints at the time?
My understanding is it wasn't a physical lockdown, if you will. It was more of a psychological constraint. The extortion, holding compromising photos, threatening, release to family members and associates. So in this case, I think we're dealing with more of a psychological constraint than an actual physical confinement. But certainly that type of constraint can make out the offense.
Is there anybody else police are looking for related to the accused, or not related, but in relationship to the businesses that are?
Certainly this is an ongoing investigation, and we would encourage anyone that finds themselves in a similar circumstance or the details that have been provided today are familiar or consistent with how an individual is being dealt with or treated. We would encourage those people to contact the Calgary Police Service, make those details known, and allow us to assist them if they're involved in a situation like this.
But right now, no belief in accomplices?
Not at this point, no.
Does this case sort of speak to the fact that victims can come from all kinds of different backgrounds and communities?
Absolutely. I don't think anyone is immune to this type of compromise in this day and age. You know, we have an individual, you know, leaving probably for the first time, leaving the nest, as it were, traveling to Calgary for a legitimate employment opportunity, and shortly thereafter is, for all intents and purposes, drugged. Compromising photographs are obtained and held over them for, you know, prospective release, the embarrassment and shame that would come with that. So certainly you need to be aware, and you know, be aware that this can happen. You know, bad things happen to good people. And you just have to be really cognizant of that, and you know, listen to your instincts, and you know, be careful in situations where you're seeking roommates and you know, associates.
So you think that the job that she came here for, you believe that that was legit and it was an actual job that she came?
That's my understanding. It's not my opinion or understanding that she was coming here to engage in a sex trade
Is there
scenario.
any concern from them? I mean, if she comes for a job and within 2 days she's drugged and, you know, put in this, was there any concern from them that this person that moved here suddenly disappeared? Or?
I can't speak to the.
It's been went from October till the spring, that's months.
I can't speak to the timeline in terms of when she completely lost contact or what caused her family and friends back in the hometown to develop a concern. I don't have those details. My understanding is that she did not come here with the intention of working as a sex trade worker. She was coerced into this behavior and forced into doing it.
And the extortion part, was it for money in both situations?
No, I think the extortion was around the shame. Money's not always involved in an extortion. There was no money changing hands per se. They weren't saying, you know, pay us or these photos will get released, or pay me or these photos are going to get released. You need to do these things or these photos will get released. So extortion is a scenario where someone's holding something over you that it can be financial, but it can be shame-based, embarrassment, reputation, those sorts of things.
What about for the second victim, like Jane has mentioned, what was she looking to gain from, what was the alleged homeowner's actions?
Well, again, it would be an extortion scenario, embarrassment, professional embarrassment, associate embarrassment. I don't have the information that she was seeking financial gain. That is certainly a fresher investigation, and those details haven't been fleshed out completely.
And did you mention an age for the second victim?
I don't have that information, I'm sorry.
Do you know if she was like 20s?
I don't, I'm sorry.
And the accused and the victims, there was no previous history, like they had no connection at all?
No.
Beforehand, before she came and
No.
that's how they met? for the very
No.
first time?
Have you come across this kind of case before? It's very liberal judgment.
It's not unheard of. The unusual aspect of this is the female on female, the same gender. Typically what we see is males engaging in this type of behavior and coercing or extorting females to do this type of thing. We are seeing a trend, and we have engaged in investigations where females have, you know, procured females as sex trade workers, and so it's not common, but we are seeing the trend.
And when you say trend, an increasing trend, more of these kinds of cases?
I couldn't speak to the statistics today. Certainly this is unusual, but we do see it occurring.
And do you guys, have you recovered the videos that the accused, she took on the victim?
I don't have that information, sorry.
But you guys know that that's one of the allegations, that she was filming them?
Yes.
Was it video or was it stills?
I believe it was video.
Can you say which RCMP detachment it was?
I don't have that information, no.
And was that the first
Again, I don't know that. Basically, in January, the family or associates became concerned and contact. They must have had information that this individual was in Calgary trying to get home. So, but I don't know which detachment contacted us.
So did they contact, was January 11th the first day that they contacted police on the same day she was found?
I don't have that information, sorry.
I believe so.
Is he accused still in custody?
I don't know if she was detained or not. Do you have that, Lindsay?
Her bail hearings on it.
Right, yes, so she's in custody presently, yep.